Good afternoon, happy Friday, happy holidays. My name is Pablo Ortiz. I have the honor of serving as the Vice President for Regional and World Locations and the Vice Provost of the Biscayne Bay campus. And I want to thank you for joining us for today's town hall for our faculty, staff, and students. Today's town hall is an opportunity to look at what to expect for the upcoming spring semester. What we have prepared for you today are a number of wonderful yet very important updates from many of our stakeholders and our leaders throughout the university so that we are better prepared going into the spring semester. We know that you have a lot of questions going into the spring, and we have collected some of those questions already, but we want to remind you that you can ask questions throughout today's town hall by using the Q&A function of today's Zoom session. We will do our very best to answer all of your questions, either live on screen or by the team that we have sitting behind the scenes answering those questions directly to you as we work throughout today's town hall session. If by any chance we do not get to answer your question today, we will continue to work to getting those answers to you, and we ask you to reach out and connect to our website at repopulation.fiu.edu after tomorrow so that you can get the answers that you are seeking. So we ask, as you are presenting those questions to us, that you are as succinct as possible. And as I mentioned, post them on the Q&A function. Today's discussion is being live streamed on the FIU Facebook page and is being recorded as well. And that will be available on the news.fiu.edu website and of course our FIU social channels. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the 5th president of FIU, Dr. Mark B. Rosenberg.
Thank you, Dr. Ortiz. We turn to you. Here we are, end of year, after an extraordinary experience that we've all been through. And we want to thank you for joining us as we look forward to spring 2021. For the last year, we've been managing ambiguity and we've been pivoting to meet the moment. And you've done an incredible job. And we want to thank you for your dedication, for your flexibility, and your creativity in keeping your eye on the ball and helping our students and helping each other to be successful. Indeed, so many of you have gone above and beyond the call of duty to ensure the well-being of our community. You've organized testing sites, contact tracing teams. You've installed thousands of signs to comply with all the new approaches that we're taking. You've reconfigured classrooms. You've worked with our students to overcome challenges. You've updated websites, created virtual commencements, communicated the latest news. You've cleaned and cleaned again. You've put your mask on hundreds, if not thousands of times, as you knew you should. So thank you for stepping up. Thank you for all that you've done for RFIU. But we're not finished yet, and you know that. Spring 2021 is going to be no different. It's going to require creativity, more flexibility. In fact, we are preparing to welcome more of the university community back to campus in the spring. We want our students to have as much in-person instruction as possible. We want our students to have the on-campus experiences that all of us have worked hard to build. And we understand that while vaccines do offer light at the end of the COVID-19 tunnel, we're still very much in the middle of this pandemic. In fact, our COVID-related work groups continue to meet multiple times a week. They're actively monitoring cases in our university community and in South Florida. We're testing, we're doing contact tracing, and we're working on getting the vaccine so that we can offer it to our university community. You may have questions about that. We're prepared to answer as much as we can today, but there's still a lot we don't know. And while the recent rise in daily case numbers, it is concerning. We've learned a lot since last spring when we went remote, and we are now better prepared with processes that have proven effective for us. And you're better prepared too. For example, the low incidence of infection in our student housing population this fall tells us that the measures we put in place and that our students, the measures that we put in place are working, and that our students are disciplined and responsible. And students, I want to thank you for understanding why that's important. Many of you have returned to campus and you're coming in on a rotating basis to ensure social distancing in your respective offices. That is working well, and we urge you to continue making sure that all of our offices are open and providing excellent service to our on-campus students and those who do come on to the campus. All of you who have been on campus, you also know that we've taken important steps to bring our community back in the safest manner possible using evidence-based approaches. At all of our campus, through our Panthers Protecting Panthers, which you'll hear a little bit more about, we implemented thorough and far-reaching health and safety guidelines using guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and to ensure everyone's well-being. These measures include deep cleaning of all campuses, especially classrooms, lecture halls, and study spaces. These measures include an extensive campaign, signage, social media, messaging, explaining our CDC-backed safety guidelines, mandatory face coverings while on campus, physical distancing of at least 6 feet, regular hand washing with soap and water or use of hand sanitizer. You're going to hear this hundreds of more times because these are the basics that will keep you healthy, that will keep your families healthy. We know that there are no shortcuts around this. Implementation and activation of our 3P. It requires a completion of a questionnaire and check-in before each time a person comes to campus. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And among our fall 2020 repopulation accomplishments, there are many. Staff repopulation. Wow, 100% unit participation has occurred of at least 50% of our employees using a rotation system to ensure we adhere to the physical distancing guidelines. Student housing occupancy of a little over 50% for the entirety of the fall semester. COVID-19 cases have been kept to a minimum due to surveillance, due to the discipline of our students, and the adherence to our Panthers Protecting Panthers. The opening of several on-campus vendors, and you know who they are and where they are, to provide service to our university community. The largest fall graduating class we have ever had. Yeah, it was a virtual commencement, but we had a great interactive grad package with social media filters, and we also had a graduation caravan, and over 500 students and their family members participated in that and had a grand time. But we got to look ahead. Spring 2021, we're going to have more access to COVID-19 testing than ever before. In fact, based on available information on the prevalence of asymptomatic cases, we are strongly encouraging everyone, faculty, staff, professional staff, to get tested prior to the return to campus after this break. We have a lot of options for you. Tests that we recommend are the RT-PCR molecular tests. This is the more accurate type of test, and results are usually within 2 days, and all testing is free. We've got the curative walk-up testing stations. You may have seen them, 2 at the Modesto Medici campus and 1 at the Biscayne Bay campus. The Tamiami Fairgrounds Test Center, what an incredible effort every day is being made there by our team. FIU Health, the ACC clinic is available by appointment to faculty, staff, and our community Monday through Friday. The student health clinic's available by appointment Monday through Friday. And in addition, we now have our own FIU COVID-19 lab that is processing surveillance tests of specific groups within the university community. So as you can see, there's a lot that's going in to this spring, to this new spring semester to give you the confidence to come back to your FIU. Very important for us. But flexibility is the key, make no mistake. It served us well in this past year, and it's going to continue to be integral to our decision making. We are preparing for the best, but look, we know that things change rapidly, and we have the agility, you have the agility, we turn to you. And that's why we have alternative plans for whatever arises. So thank you for all you do for RFIU. This year has been unlike no other, and you rose to the challenge. And we, as a goal, want to finish strong. And so that's what we're doing, gathering today to make sure we have the latest up-to-date information, but more importantly, we know what's on your mind. We know what your concerns are as we turn into 2021. So we hope that you deserve the break that's coming up, hopefully with your family members and loved ones. But, you know, I said the other day, and I'll say it again, don't share the air. We know that that's one of the major challenges. And while that runs against our instincts not to be sociable and social, we got to think about those around us and how to keep them safe. That requires extraordinary discipline and determination from our FIU community. So happy holidays, everyone. We can't wait to see you on campus next year. Please have a great break. Please take advantage of this conversation that we're having to get your questions answered and to listen better than you've ever listened. Thank you all so much. Now, I'm really pleased that with us this afternoon is our provost, Ken Furton. He'll speak briefly. John Cow, our Associate Vice President for Facilities Management, followed by Dr. Aneta Roldan, who's our CEO of our FIU Health Clinic. She'll be followed by Andrew Naylor, who heads up our residence halls, and then our student government president and a member of the Board of Trustees, Alexandra Valdez. They will speak briefly. We also have available Dr. Elizabeth Behar, our Senior Vice President, and Dr. Elpanye Hudson, our Vice President for Human Resources, and our Vice Provost for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Thank you so much for being with us. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we look forward, obviously, to this conversation. We know it's going to be very informative. So we're going to go ahead and start with our panelists that you have introduced. And I'd like to have Dr. Furton, our provost, begin with his comments and remarks.
Great. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see all of the faculty and staff and students who've joined us today.
Mr. Provost, you've gone mute.
Mute.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Sorry about that. That's the most common phrase of 2020. Yeah, so on behalf of the faculty, we're very excited to be greeting more students on campus and having more courses on campus. As you know, during the spring of 20, we switched and ended that term remotely. This summer, we continued remote. And then this fall that we just finished up, we had about 25% of our sections with in-person components, and about 50% of our courses were remote. So I'm happy to say that this spring, we now have about 22% remote. We've continued some of our large lecture courses and some where we will maintain physical distancing in all of our classes. So that limits our capacity on campus down to about 30% of what would be pre-COVID. So we will continue some limited remote courses, but over half of our courses will have an on-campus component. And the faculty are looking forward to seeing those of you who can come in onto campus for those courses. Those on-campus courses may be fully in person, or they may be hybrid courses. If you're registered for a hybrid course, you should connect once you register with the professor. It should be in the schedule, but if it is not, your professor will let you know when the courses are going to be on campus. So that those courses are a combination of in-person as well as online learning, and it varies depending on the course. But and we still are actually trying to find. We have so many requests for on-campus courses that we have some homeless courses, as they're called, that we're trying to find rooms for, and we'll get that sorted out. So please be patient if the mode of delivery is unclear. you can reach out and ask Charlie or talk to your advisor, and we'll get you clarification. And if you don't have the course that you need in terms of a in-person course or even a remote course, please, again, reach out, and you can do that through Ask Charlie, because we are still adding classes, and we're able to do that in all different modes of delivery. So I look forward to greeting you on campus in the spring. And as I said, the faculty are very excited to be increasingly in person on campus, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the spring.
Thank you very much, Mr. Provost. And as you can imagine, quite a number of questions are coming in through the Q&A function. And I want to encourage everyone to use that function, because we are doing everything we can to answer all of those questions that are coming in, either live here on camera or through the Q&A, the chat function. I want to mention that it's great to see that we have over 956 participants so far on this Zoom call. So that, of course, means that people are really looking forward to getting these updates. And certainly, Mr. Provost will be coming back to you with some of those questions later on in the town hall. With that, let me move on to our Associate Vice President, John Cal.
John, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Pablo. And to all the Panthers, best wishes for the holidays and for the start of the new semester. I'd just like to tell you that your facilities team has never left campus. We've been here throughout the pandemic. We have been in every building. We have maintained the HVAC systems. We have enhanced the cleanliness of all the buildings. So we can assure you that while there are no guarantees, you have a safe and healthy environment here. And we are doing our best to upgrade our systems and adapt new technologies as they're proven, so that we can further assure the quality of our campus here. But to anyone, if you follow the protocols, this is a safe and healthy environment. Pablo, that's really my message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And I can attest to the work, the endless work that your team has been putting in to make sure that we're all safe here on campus. And for anyone that has been visiting our campus, you'll see the signage and the attention to detail that your team has been following to keep us all safe has been extraordinary, and is extraordinary. So thank you for that. Let me now introduce our next panelist for a couple of very important words. Dr. Eneida Roldan, our CEO of the FIU Healthcare Network. Eneida?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Vice President Ortiz. It's with great pleasure that first I start by echoing my colleague, Mr. John Cal. Your healthcare team has never left campus. We have been here since day one. We have kept all our clinics open, both the ACC clinic as well as the Student Health Clinic. As you know, we have been intimately involved with Miami-Dade County at our Tamiami sites. And now we're very, very proud that we have brought to you the curative trailers right here on campus, both two at MMC, one located at Parkview, the other located at across PG5, as well as BBC campus. So really, we have actually brought all the multiple options to you for you to get tested. Our goal has always been and will continue to be the health and safety of our family, of our FIU family, students, employees, faculty, staff alike. So since the very beginning, we have been focused first on education and prevention. We did not know what this virus was all about. We keep learning every day what this virus can do. So our focus was education, communication, with the help of facilities and others of our team, signage, to teach you about preventive measures, which you're going to hear and expand later on, through our P3 screening, early screening and early detection, through our rapid response, through our COVID response team and surveillance, and of course, our diagnostic testing, our expanded sites of diagnostic testings and options with improved turnaround time, which is extremely very important so that we mitigate the potential transmission of the virus. At the Tamiami test site, we're very proud that to date, we have administered 177,519 tests together with our partnership of Miami-Dade County. So FIU has not only said yes to their family, but yes to this community. At our clinics, At our ACC clinics, we have to date administered 2,315, of which approximately 1,600 tests have been administered to the FIU family. And our curative trailer is very short, in a short of a few days, where we opened November 18th, our first trailer, we have currently already administered over 4,000 tests. And our very own auxiliary lab, which is ready to be able to have a turnaround time of same day. So we continue to work very, very judiciously and to expedite and to really help you feel safe, because that's what we're here for. And of course, our healthcare committee that has been working day and night to be able to approve and look and approve every single repopulation plan by unit in conjunction with the rest of leadership. And now, of course, most recently, the approval of the vaccines, both the Pfizer vaccine as well as the Moderna, that just yesterday and today finally got the EUA approval. So we are now in full preparation with our emergency services to be able to await the arrival of the number of vaccines. We have the freezers ready. We're looking at the workforce. We will be working on logistics of how best to be able to distribute and administer. You do have a healthcare team and a leadership team that is dedicated to your health and safety. And the only thing that I have left to tell you is please enjoy your holidays, restful, peace, but always remember that you have to first think of yourself and others so that you can protect your family. So no, don't forget those protective measures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roldan. And as you mentioned, your team has been outstanding throughout this entire process and helping our community get through this pandemic. As you can expect, a number of questions have been coming in, so we will certainly be tapping into your expertise and your knowledge as we move forward. I do want to just take a moment to remind everyone that what you're hearing today are really the plans and the status of where we are as a university today. And we're making those decisions based on the information that we have from our health experts, from those at the state level and the federal level. But the reality is that things may be changing and we cannot predict the future. We can only plan for it to the best of our ability. So I want to encourage everyone that following today's town hall, do not disconnect completely from the FIU channels that we have in place to help you stay informed. We want you to stay connected to our social media channels, and you'll see here on this slide on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. We're going to be updating as we get new information, as decisions are changed, or we're going to continue with the plan that we have in place. We would not want anyone to be surprised of any potential changes that may occur as you revisit or plan to revisit our campus in January. So again, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, those will be updated on a daily basis, as well as the website that I mentioned previously, repopulation.fiu.edu. That is a very important document with a wealth of information that should be very helpful to everyone on this call. And by the way, I want to mention we have over 1,000 participants now, and I want to welcome all of those that are watching us live via Facebook. We're close to 150 viewers on Facebook as well. So a lot of good information being shared. And with that, we're going to continue with our panelists. And as many of you may not know, we've had a number of students that have stayed with us here on campus as part of our residence halls. And we've been taking care of them throughout this entire pandemic. And the man behind all of that work is here with us today, Andrew Naylor. He's our Senior Director for Housing and Residential Life that has some valuable information and also a video that he wants to share with you as well. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Vice President Ortiz. Good afternoon, everybody. FIU Housing and Bayview have had a successful fall semester. I want you to watch resident Alex Sutton as he shares what it was like to live on campus in the fall.
Oh, hi, my name is Alex. Nice to meet you. I'm living here on campus at FIU, and I absolutely love it here.
During these times, a lot of people are hesitant about living on campus, but you have nothing to fear. I'm living on campus and I feel great. It's totally safe and it's a great time. It's my first semester here at FIU, and FIU has worked hard to make it a safe living space. We've got hand sanitizer installed in every building, there's plexiglass installed in all the places where it counts, and we're practicing social distancing. What's good, Caitlin?
What's up, Alex?
Trust me, safety is FIU's top priority. They even have people cleaning and disinfecting constantly. You don't have to stay in your room all day. There's lots you can do on campus. For example,
You can work out at the rec center. You can chill out at the pool. You can grab a bite to eat. You can study inside.
or study outside. Spaces are clearly labeled to ensure social distancing. See, we're all good. Even though it hasn't been a typical year, housing and residential life is still throwing events. My personal favorites are the ones we have outside, like movie night.
Check out the other events that are taking place. Silent disco. Painting with a twist.
So don't worry, FIU has got you covered. It's just not the same without you, so I hope to see you right here on campus really soon. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.
As Alex said, we're welcoming more students to housing in the spring, and we will continue with the precautions taken in the fall, as well as adding some enhanced testing protocols for the spring because we are adding more students. These include requiring everyone in housing to be tested before checking in for spring or before classes start if you remain on campus over the break. Throughout the semester, there will be random mandatory testing for all students living on campus. We are planning more in-person activities and programs that follow CDC guidelines for spring to give you a break from Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for that video. I think it's refreshing to see that the students are on campus and they are adhering to all of the safety protocols as we've mentioned in the past and still enjoying some activities. And with that, speaking of our students, I'd like to turn it over to our SGA president and trustee, Alexandra Valdez.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ortiz. An awesome video by Alex. Love his name. So I just want to share some highlights for the spring semester from Student Life and Development team, who's working so hard to host different engagement events and opportunities, both virtual and in person. So SPC's Movie on the Lawn in the Mark Pavilion on January 22nd, as well as the SPC Hearts on Fire on February 9th. Week of Welcome will be having Music on the Lawns on January 12th in the GC Lawns, and SPC BBC will be having a Wild and Out comedy show on January 27th, which will be a hybrid segment. BSU Afro-Cuban Dance Workshop should be on February 3rd, as well as the Martin Luther King Day of Service hybrid event will be on January 16th, hosted by Center for Leadership and Service. Relay of Life Night of Hope event, participants can join in person and as well attend virtually on February 3rd. And lastly, SGA will be hosting a Women Empowerment segment, and the title is Women Are a Collection of Strategic Paths on January 21st, which will be a hybrid segment as well in the GC ballrooms and live streamed. And MGC Showcase will be on January 29th in the MMC ballrooms. So to stay up to date on all these events and stay connected with FIU, you can follow FIU on Instagram as well as SGA and connecting through Panther Connect. Now we'll segment into a video that we would like to share with all of you on how to assure a safe and healthy spring semester.
Hi, I'm Alex Valdez, and I'm here with Alex Ibarria. And like so many of you, we're really excited to slowly begin returning to our beautiful FIU.
We know things are uncertain for everyone right now. With that in mind, university administrators designed a well-thought-out plan to keep Panthers safe. That way, we can all learn confidently and focus on achieving our goals.
That's right, Alex. The plan is called Panthers Protecting Panthers. But for it to work, every Panther must do their part. Luckily, it's really easy. Alex and I will show you everything you need to know. Ready?
Prior to coming to campus, all students, faculty, and staff must check in on the P3 app available in the Apple and Android app stores. Students who live on campus must check in on the app every day before leaving their room. On the P3 app, you'll be asked to answer a few simple screening questions. Based on your responses, You'll get a check mark to enter campus, an exclamation mark to stay home and monitor symptoms, or an X to stay home and schedule a COVID test.
Everyone who is on campus must wear a facial covering, even when you're in the restrooms, hallways, or outdoors. That means you too, Rory. Face coverings need to be worn properly and must cover the nose and mouth like this. One complimentary reusable mask is available for every student and vending machines throughout campus. Use your one card to get your free mask.
Always keep physical distancing of at least 6 feet from one another while you're on campus. That includes elevators, hallways, and other traffic areas.
And don't forget to wash your hands frequently or use hand sanitizer installed in high traffic areas to help stop the spread of COVID-19. You'll find signage throughout the university to help remind you.
You'll also notice seats have been blocked or removed throughout campus and in classrooms. And plexiglass dividers have been installed in commonly used areas to ensure recommended CDC guidelines are in place.
Other safety precautions being taken to maintain a healthy campus environment include increased cleaning frequency of common and high-touch areas. There's also disinfecting wipes available in all classrooms to allow faculty and students to clean their spaces before and after each class.
But what if you need to check something out of the library or want a quiet study space?
Library materials can be requested and scheduled for contactless pickup. Reservations to use the libraries and other study spaces throughout the campus can be made through the Central Space Reservation System. Go to the link on the screen for instructions on how to reserve a spot.
If you're wondering what's open on campus, there's a limited number of dining options currently available with 50% indoor capacity as well as outdoor seating. Barnes & Noble at MMC and BBC are also open now. But if you prefer to make orders online, the bookstore will continue to offer free shipping on all domestic purchases and curbside pickup at the MMC location.
For a complete list of dining options, operating hours, and other on-campus vendors now open, visit the link above.
Okay, let's do a quick recap. Fill out the P3 app before coming to campus, wash your hands frequently, wear proper face coverings while around others, practice physical distancing, and stay home when sick. Did I forget anything?
Yes. Remember, we're all one Panther family and we have a shared responsibility of protecting one another and to have a great semester.
For more information, visit repopulation.fiu.edu.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Alexandra. What a great video. A lot of fantastic information. And folks, we cannot stress enough the importance of filling out the P3 app. As Dr. Roldan mentioned earlier, we are a family here, right? We are an FIU family, and we need to do everything we can to take care of each other. And it starts by answering those questions on the P3 app and adhering to the recommendations that app provides once you have put in those responses. So please use that. And once again, I want to thank all of our panelists for the information that they've provided. We're going to transition now to our question and answer session. As I have mentioned before, we have quite a number of questions that we've gathered prior to the session today. We also have a number of them that have come up here in the Q&A. In full transparency, I have to admit that I have submitted a question myself that doesn't have to be answered just yet, but Andrew and Alexandra, be ready at some point to explain to me what silent disco is. I have no idea what that is, but we can wait on that one for now. So on a more serious note, as expected, Dr. Roldan, you mentioned the vaccine and now how we're seeing that both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine have been approved or in the process of being approved, and soon the distribution will begin. But there have been a couple of questions in terms of what FIU's role will be in the distribution of that vaccine. Will FIU be able to administer it? Who will be able to get it? In fact, we have a question from a faculty member saying, if I am a faculty member, will I be able to do it? Will it be mandatory? So talk to us a little bit about what that looks like for FIU in the future.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vice President Ortiz. As I alluded to very briefly earlier, we are in preparation to be what we call a pod site, which means we will be taking care of our family. And we have put in a number for the volume that we hopefully will not only requesting, but we will be able to get. It is too early yet because we do not have a date, nor do we have an amount. As we all know, the first shipments went to Jackson Health System, of which Jackson Health System then in turn distributed among some of the community hospitals. I can tell you, and I know this for a fact, that even large community hospitals at this point have received as little as 500 up to 800 doses, where they have a lot more of the frontline healthcare workers. As we know, that is the priority. It is the front line as well as the long-term and nursing home. Even the healthcare sites, even hospitals are not requiring for anyone to take the vaccine. However, you know, everyone has been asked to do it on a voluntary basis right now. And if it's available, then they will be able to get the vaccine. At this point, it is too early for us to have an actual distribution or priority. I don't like to use the word priority in healthcare because everyone is entitled. But as soon as we have an actual plan, we will be able to share with everyone. Yes, we do have the workforce that will be able to administer. As you know, we do have a College of Medicine as well as a College of Nursing. And I have had good conversations with Dean Saxton as well as with Dean Ora Strickland that we will have the workforce to be able to administer the vaccine. We hope to get the numbers in 6 figures, but more to come in the next few weeks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Roldan. I'm going to now ask the president to jump in here. I have a couple of questions that have come up, and I think it's important for you to take a moment and talk a little bit about our position and our expectations and our hope going into the spring semester. And the question has to do with the number of cases that are now increasing on a daily basis. And I think we're seeing that at a national level. A couple of questions have come in terms of why are we looking to repopulate in the spring, given the current condition that we're in with the pandemic? Could you spend a moment speaking to that and sharing your thoughts?
I certainly could. And that really is a very important question. I'm glad it's asked. Yes, our eyes are open. We are studying both the local as well as the international situation very closely. Many of you may have seen that Germany, you know, is now changing its status. They thought they could handle it. They haven't. They're asking for people to stay in their homes. So our eyes are open. We're hoping for the best, and honestly, we're preparing for the worst. What I've been most impressed with our community is its flexibility and its willingness to, if you will, change if necessary. So we understand that what we're hoping for our January the 11th opening may be quite different than what we end up doing. And we're counting on the FIU community to understand that as well. And so it's an open question where we will be in early January. Obviously, things change about every moment with this pandemic, and we are very, very sensitive to that. At this point, we believe it's important to prepare for as many face-to-face courses and as much on-campus return as we can foster. We're emphasizing testing. We're emphasizing the basics, but that's why we've asked you to stay tuned to our communications and to developments as they evolve.
Thank you, Mr. President. A follow-up to that that came in a couple of questions as well. So obviously, right, this is a very responsible plan to begin the process of repopulating. Is there a situation where you may foresee us going virtual again? And what would that look like in your mind?
Oh, very definitely. There is a scenario of us going virtual, and that is not being discarded at all. We are very very ready to address that situation. We think it's important still in all right now to continue to plan as we have been planning, but we are prepared to return to a virtual environment if necessary. We did that this summer, and I want to commend everybody who was involved. 43,000 students were enrolled this summer, and we have, we had graduation right after that. So we're ready. FIU is ready. And so we just have to see how the situation develops. We have to follow the data. We have to follow CDC guidelines and the approaches that are being recommended by our respective boards, but we're ready.
Thank you. And you mentioned graduations, and
Yeah.
we've heard you many times talk about how student success is so important to the university, and our graduation rate is at an all-time high. Our students are working hard. They've demonstrated their capacity to endure during these times. We have spring graduation coming, and students are asking, can that be in person? What are the options we're looking at?
Right. Student success is uppermost in our minds. Student safety is uppermost in our minds. Getting students graduated timely is uppermost in our minds. And we want to have that face-to-face graduation if we can do that safely. And we are starting to think that through now in ways that perhaps may be futile depending upon what happens, but we are thinking it through, and we are hoping that we can have a face-to-face graduation in late April or early May. So believe me, Dr. Ortiz and everybody out there, there's nothing more than we want than to get FIU families together at graduation to celebrate the milestone achievements of our hardworking students.
Mr. President, thank you for those responses, and I can't agree more in terms of our approach and what it has been over the last 9 months, and the way we've been able to pivot, keeping our eyes, as you said, wide open on the conditions, on the circumstances that we're dealing with. Just reflecting back to 9 months ago, we can remember the first memo saying we're going to move to remote work on March 13th or March 16th, and our expectation was to come back April 8th. And here we are at the December 18th, and we're still navigating through this. So we appreciate that, and I think it's good to hear that from you. So with that, I want to move to the question about activities on campus. We saw a couple of videos, and Andrew Naylor shared a video about some of the activities that are taking place. There will be students that will be taking courses face-to-face here on campus. So I want to bring in Dr. Elizabeth Behar. She's our Senior Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs, to talk a little bit about what those experiences could look like. If I'm a student coming in now, and in fact, one of the questions I think is a great one. We have a student saying, I have to ride and take a bus to get to the campus. It's an hour-long ride. It's very stressful to get to the campus. Is the campus going to be safe? What should I expect to see? And when we talk about activities, what kind of activities are we looking to have for our students in the spring that will be on campus?
Certainly. Thank you, Pablo. We are very excited about the spring semester. As the president said, we are really taking a close look at the information and at the data and monitoring the conditions in our community writ large. But certainly, as evidenced by everyone here who is on campus, and I'm on campus, our SGA president, Alexander Valdez, is on campus. We do believe and we do know our campus is as safe as possible as it can be right now. We are looking forward to the spring under the direction of Jose Toscano under Student Life and Development. There was also another question in the chat. We are planning a number of events. As the weeks progress, the calendars will be provided to all our students, and of course on central social media and web sites to update. We're very excited about activities that will occur and begin to occur even during the week of check-in and our week of welcome. So we are bringing week of welcome face-to-face, physically distanced, COVID safety protocols in hand. We will work together to establish alignment between what you're learning in your class. Hopefully you have some classes face-to-face, remote, hybrid, high flex. We're gonna bring guest lecturers, both academic, social, cultural, to our students. We're gonna have exciting events, concerts, engagement, and as I have also answered in the chat, we're really excited that the university has worked together to really build infrastructure around safety protocols so our student orgs and student councils can return to meeting on campus. More information will be provided to the student orgs and student councils, but we do anticipate both at BBC and at MMC that student groups will return to meeting on their regularly scheduled bases with additional safety protocols. And with that, back to you, Pop. Oh, excuse me. I'm actually going to ask our Vice President for HR and Vice Provost for DEI, E.K. Hudson, to address from a personal and professional perspective the question from the student who utilizes public transportation in South Florida, if that's possible. EK?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Behar. And thank you for the question. The question was, as a public transportation commuter traveling an hour per day for campus, is it safe? And I will tell you, I have that same commute on the Tri-Rail, and the transportation services have gone to great lengths to make sure that those that are the patrons, if you will, are physically distanced. There's a requirement for face coverings. They have hand sanitizer at the stations. And so that's in place to encourage continued public transportation use. Certainly due diligence is expected on our part as travelers, and we make sure that we are keeping ourselves physically distanced. If you're not well, you don't want to come into that space in that circumstance. And I've even had instances where I would have to move from where I was sitting because it got too crowded. I've been here on campus since August, every day taking that commute on the Tri-Rail, and it has been wonderful. I've not contracted any illnesses, and it's been very, very well. So I encourage you, even as a student, to feel free to take those public transportation services that have been that measures have been placed in for your safety and your well-being. Thank you.
Thank you, Alpanya. So John Cal, as our head of our facilities, we've heard of students that are going to be making quite a commute to come to campus. We've heard about some of these activities that we're hoping to be able to offer and have during the spring semester. Will our students feel safe? What does the physical environment look like? And talk a little bit about some of that effort that your team has put in place to ensure the safety of everyone who does step on our campus.
The physical environment, Pablo, looks much like it did before the pandemic. So the beautiful, clean campus that you remember is still here. It still looks like an oasis. It looks like a refuge, and it is unique. It still attracts people, and visitors who come here always remark on that. So what you remember is still here. What it's missing is you. So we need more people. But in terms of what are we doing, we are focused, first of all, on the building system side. All our buildings have been operating throughout the whole period. So nothing has been closed down. We have not turned off the air conditioner to save money. We have not turned off the electricity. Everything has functioned and continued to work. And that really is key. We've placed great emphasis when it comes to our HVAC systems. We've placed great emphasis on doing all the preventive maintenance and on actually enhancing that. So we've kept up with all the filter changes, with maintaining those systems that have ultraviolet light as part of their cleaning protocol. All that is there. We've also upgraded many of our filters that before were what we call MERV 8. So if anyone, if you live at home and you have an air conditioning unit that you change the filter, you can probably look at it and it'll probably tell you it's a MERV 6 or a MERV 7. That's typical residential. All the commercials were MERV 8 or better. We did some testing and we were able to transition our filters to MERV 13. So we have some filters that are quarterly, they're MERV 13. And when they're used just in isolation, it's MERV 13. We have other filters that are annual, and some of those are MERV 13 already used in conjunction with a MERV 8. So those remain in place. So we've enhanced the filtration, in other words. We've also put UV light into some of our air handler units to improve the quality of the air. We've looked at other technologies. There's been a lot of hype about technologies. we've looked at all those and have found no silver bullet. But just doing the basic maintenance to ensure that all the systems operate as they were designed to is key and priority number one. In terms of cleaning, you know, we have probably one of the best custodial teams any university has. They've been on campus, they've been cleaning, they're here every day. So no dust has accumulated, they continue to clean. I know there are questions on frequency. We have put heavy emphasis on cleaning common areas or areas that are high frequency, high touch. The classrooms are disinfected on a daily basis. Every night, our crews will go in with an electrostatic disinfection machine that does disinfect those classrooms every day. In addition, we have placed sanitizing wipes in all the classrooms so that as students come in during the day, they can use those and clean the areas that they're occupying. In terms of individual offices, our frequency is to empty the trash twice weekly. If you want to put your trash can outside your office, that'll tell us to do it more frequently, and we'll pick that up and put it in and change the bag. And the offices are cleaned every 2 weeks in terms of a light cleaning. We will only do so-called deep cleaning or disinfection on an as-needed basis. But again, for those who have been on campus, it is what it was before. It is a refuge. It's an oasis. The landscaping is great, and the buildings are clean. So you can be confident that you're coming into a clean and safe environment, recognizing we all have the responsibility to follow the protocols, and there are no guarantees, but you're probably safer here than you are at Publix or Sedano's or wherever else you might be going.
Thank you, John. And John, one of the protocols that we have right now is the need to use the one card, the FIU one card, to access the building entry points. Are we going to continue with that come the spring, or are we looking to change that protocol?
That's a great question. Thank you for reminding me about that. That's one of the things that before, as you know, we never did. We were a 365, 24/7 open campus, basically. Maybe not quite 24/7, but we were an open campus. So you could go into any building virtually at any time from 7:30 to 11 at night. And I'm sure some folks found ways to get in even beyond those hours. Recognizing that this was a new situation, we wanted to try to enhance safety, security, and perhaps provide another tool to the contact tracers. So we tried to adapt our electronic access system to mimic the pre-pandemic open campus feel using the ID card. So if you have your FIU ID card, you can get into the academic buildings using that card. And what that does is, number one, if anyone ever needs to contact trace who may have been to a building or where an individual may have been, they can do so, and that helps the COVID response team. Number two, knowing that we don't have as many people as we once did on campus, it provides for additional safety and security, because now only FIU community is entering the buildings. So if you are part of FIU, you have access to the buildings. And we've done a number of tests, but that will continue, and we have no end date for that. We'll see how things progress, but right now, as long as you have your ID card, you will have access to FIU.
Thank you. That's very important to note, because I know that many of us, sometimes we forget that ID card, right? Or we put it somewhere else and don't bring it with us to work. So just as a reminder, when we do start the process of returning in the spring, please bring that FIU One card. That will give you access into the building. So I'm gonna bring in the provost at this point. Mr. Provost, we've heard now about our efforts to increase activity on campus, about how safe the campus is going to be and how we're monitoring that very closely. So we would expect there may be students now that are thinking, well, maybe I do want to register for the spring. Maybe I do want to register for a HyFlex course. Talk a little bit about the HyFlex course experience. And we have a question from a faculty member that I think is interesting, right? It says, can I require attendance those days when I've selected to be on campus? There are some students who have admitted to being out of state, but registered for the classes. So what are really the protocols here and the expectations for that HyFlex course?
Yes, so thank you, Vice President Ortiz. As we've continued in this semester for our courses that are on campus, nearly all of our classes are video enabled. And so that allows the students to attend the course remotely, or it even allows the professor to lecture remotely as needed. So if a student needs to go into quarantine, they should talk with their faculty member and be provided that opportunity using most cases Zoom enabled classrooms. So as in the past, it's up to the faculty member. So faculty can require attendance, and we do encourage students who register for the in-person courses to actually attend in person. But that is up to the faculty member. And I would ask that faculty encourage the students to be there in person, but be flexible. And so we have a commitment that if a student's in a course in person, whether it's fully in person or hybrid, and needs to quarantine, let's say for 2 weeks or 10 days or some period of time, that they are able to still access the course remotely. But if a student really wants to take a remote course, if they're living out of state and they cannot come in person, then they should be looking at the options of either our fully online courses, which are asynchronous, or our synchronous remote courses. And that's what I mentioned. If you are not getting the courses you need, you can speak with your advisor, or you can ask Charlie in terms of either what the accommodations could be. And you can reach out to the professor. So you can register for a class, and then the professor may require attendance. And if you're out of state, then that may not be an option for you. Or they may be flexible, and they may allow a subset of students who cannot come in person to access the course remotely. So we are, the key is being flexible, and we have made it available. All of our classrooms, at least nearly all the classes, do have this functionality. And the faculty actually have said it's worked out very well. We did a town hall with the faculty where we had faculty and students. And many students really need that in-person component. And so I know there was another question that was brought up. Well, what if the majority of your students are remote or go into quarantine? Can you switch the course to remote? And the answer is no. The courses that are in person, we want to stay in person, because as the president said, we may take the option of switching to a remote for a period of time. As you know, in this fall term, we did a delayed on-campus start for our undergraduate courses. So we will be carefully monitoring the situation, and if the situation is such, we can switch to remote, but we don't want to switch individual courses, because the students who register for that in person, even if it's one student showing up to your class, hopefully it's many, many more, they really need, and they honestly, have told me that they really are longing for that, and they've benefited by having that in-person meetings with their faculty. And as I said, right now, only about a quarter of our classes, 25% of our classes had that in person. And in the spring, about over 50% will. And the students really need that. And the faculty have stepped up and are, looking forward to seeing their students again in the classroom, even though they'll be, physically distanced, wearing their face coverings. It's still interaction that I think both the faculty and the students are looking forward to.
Thank you for that, Mr. Provost, for that clarification. Very important. You also mentioned during your response, ask Charlie, and I'm going to turn to that now, but I want to bring in Dr. Behar again, because I'm sure we have a lot of students that are on this call at this point with some questions in terms of what's the next step, what can they do? Maybe they haven't registered, maybe they have some questions, maybe they want to change what they have registered for. So we have a question from a student on the Q&A. I'm a non-degree seeking student. Where can I go to make an appointment to meet an advisor? So I think that's a question that all students want to hear. And if they have these types of questions, how do they make that appointment? Where do they go? And hopefully we can give them some clear pointers on what to do next.
Certainly, Pablo, and thank you. And so there's two things the first thing you need to remember is askcharlie.fiu.edu. And so the provost mentioned it earlier, but our very own Dr. Charlie Andrews, part of the academic and student affairs team, is here to answer any question. It doesn't matter if it's within scope or not. He is the person behind the scenes who will get you the answers. I did answer that question independently on the non-degree seeking students. So unfortunately, the way our systems work, our non-degree seeking students cannot seek an advising appointment through our Panther Success Network. But I did send my email, behare@fiu.edu, BEJARE@fiu.edu. I want to make sure the student gets the advising that is specific to his or her discipline interests. So I'm waiting for that email and we will connect you as soon as possible. So again, Elizabeth Behar, but the website, the information, askcharlie.fiu.edu. Take a look, as the provost said, to the modalities that are associated with your spring registrations. And if you have any questions, we're here. As you can see through all of us as we're talking, we're here, we're in our offices. We're working hard to ensure the safest and most successful spring semester for you. And many students that we hear from want to be on campus. So let's see how we can make that happen. Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that. And for those that are wondering, yes, that one screen or picture you have on your screen of Charlie Andrews, if you can see that, yes, that is Charlie. We're not talking about a chatbot here. Or an automated phone service that we have provided. There's actually a human behind Ask Charlie, and it looks just like him. So if you do have any questions, again, very important. We've already gone through a number of websites and links. I'm going to review that again. askcharlie.fiu.edu, and we will make sure to get you the answers to the questions that you're asking. I'm going to remind you again as well to make sure you're following us on social media, or visit the website repopulation.fiu.edu. Critically important. One other point that I'd like to bring up back to the conversation regarding some of the activities that are taking place into the spring, or that we're planning into the spring, and the process of having more students and faculty come on campus. We want to encourage as well the deans that we have on this call, as well as our administrative offices, to start the process, right, of bringing some of those events and meetings onto the campus. I want to call out yet another website, reservespace.fiu.edu, reservespace.fiu.edu, should you want to bring in any of those meetings or events onto campus. And by the way, I also want to state that simply because you go into reservespace.fiu.edu, it doesn't mean that every single activity and every single meeting and event is going to be approved and come on campus. That website and that process is going to be very, very closely monitored. As the president has said, this effort to repopulate has been designed in a very methodical, careful, and responsible way. If we're seeing an abundance of events that want to come back on campus, we will limit those. We will let those that are facilitating those events know that they have to either reschedule, or they are not going to be able to bring that event on campus, because we want to, again, maintain the controls that we have across the university and keep our campus as safe as John Cal has very, very clearly explained to us. So I'm going to check again one more time here on the Q&A. I think we have gone through all of the questions that have been presented to us. This has been a remarkable session. I think we've had a chance to hear from all of these panelists on a number of different topics and very important questions. Again, please make sure you're following us on social media. I don't see any more questions. So either folks are just tired because it's Friday, or we've done an outstanding job at answering the questions that you do have. So with that, I'm going to ask the president to give us a few final words. But before I give it to him, stay on. Do not jump off the meeting once the president finishes his final thoughts. We have a great video for you, a great surprise, great way to end the week. So with that, Mr. President, your final thoughts.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ortiz. First of all, thank you to all for being on, to raise your questions, to listen, to learn, to hope, and whatever else we might have motivated through the information that we've shared. The music that we began with, we turn to you. You're critical. It's FIU. And we want to remind you that this is a community. We see ourselves as a family. We help each other. And that in part is what we're doing today. And truthfully, what most of us who love this university do every day. We have gratitude, we have appreciation for having meaningful work on one hand, but also working with being with hardworking professionals, hardworking students, all on a mission, all driven by purpose, and working hard to get the best outcomes. This year we began by pledging to get better at being better. This gathering has been part of that. Little did we know that in between we would have a catastrophic pandemic. For those of you who have lost family members, loved ones, friends, our deepest condolences to you. We honor them by calling attention to the basics at this point, to remind ourselves and to remind you that you do have to wear your masks. Panthers do protect Panthers. Fill out your P3, all those basics. Try to avoid large groups at this point. We acknowledge that there are major challenges out there. We are hoping for the best, but we're preparing for the worst. We know that the vaccine is important to so many of you. And when we have more information, you will have more information. Financial aid is available for students who are in need. And for those of you who are faculty and professional staff, we understand that there is significant employment challenges out there, that there is significant hardship that has been driven by this pandemic. So let's be a little kinder and gentler. Let's make sure that our messaging is very, very supportive, which it has been so far. Let's find a way to continue to get better at being better. Ultimately, we don't want to lose one student in the spring semester. And for you students, we're serious about that. We do believe that every student counts. We'll find a way. That's why Ask Charlie is there. But all of us stand ready to try to find a way to help you get the education that you deserve and graduate timely, which is so important for you, so important for your families. So many sacrifices have been made to ensure that you could get to this point, students. So no student is going to be left behind. We want you all to get the courses and to graduate timely. We care. And so I want to thank you. I want to wish you happy holidays. I too join with everybody on this program to hope for peace this holiday season, the peace that you'll have to have love, to have good feelings, to recharge yourselves, and to come back strong for the spring. The best is yet to come for our FIU, for our community. We're all going to get through this. Looking forward to seeing you around campus. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.